Joel Pritchard and Frank Schrantz and some of the guys on the roundtable, as they worked the reform agenda, they knew there was going to need to be a support system from the business community and from the media. If there weren't communication about the progress of reform and the importance of what we were doing, it was going to be controversial, and we would be cooked if we didn't have some help.
In the early years, Partnership for Learning was really the primary voice on behalf of education reform, in addition to many of the elected officials that were strong advocates.
Governor Pritchard and Frank Schrantz had a vision of how they thought this thing could work over time. And I think the partnership has pretty much stayed true to that vision and mission, and it's proved its worth.
So there are now more reform organizations in the state than there used to be. PFL is the first. So we have a legacy, we have credibility, we're seen as an authority and a strong partner. I think those are really important attributes, and we also convene different types of people. Most importantly, however, we're the business voice in Washington for education reform.
I've been working with PFL for probably the last 8 or 9 years, and been working with them day in, day out on everything from planning what we want to do in education to implementing programs to talking about how we communicate our work around education.
And I'll tell you what, without Partnership for Learning and the business community, 1209 would have never happened.
Without the Partnership for Learning and the clout and the resources they had to add to the public-private funding of some of the things we did, we just couldn't have pulled it off.
The Partnership for Learning really became the catalyst or the voice to really help people understand and get behind this change.
Just a group of very smart people who started out with the ed reform under Booth Gardner in the early 90s, and they've been doing consistently great work throughout the years on our developing standards and assessments and supporting those in our state.
I love the balanced approach to inform people, to be what I call patiently impatient, where they're constantly pushing and helping and bringing people along, but if you're not going to come, we're going to keep going. And they've really been, if you will, that clarion voice that really represents both student need and what the community, the business community, the broader community really needs in an education system.
Education is everything, and there's nothing further upstream than education in Washington State and throughout this country, and in particular public education.
So our work in the role of advocacy is really to be a strong communicator and one that has this fact base. We build political will, we build political understanding, we build awareness, and then we build support.
So one thing that's very unique about the Partnership for Learning and the structure of the mission and the goals of the organization is that it's a supportive team that works to define partnership as a two-way street. So it's not just about the business needs, it's also about the education need.
Over the last 20 years of the partnership, the focus has changed in terms of how to proceed to accomplish that, but the importance of the partnership, keeping the pressure on and being persistent in advocating for change and improvement is what's been, I think, the biggest key.
Because of the partnership and the work that we've done over the last 20 years, Washington students have the opportunity to make choices in their educational environment.
I think the integrity of purpose, the partnership was there. They wanted accountability for our children in the state, and I wanted the same thing.
We need to make sure that students learn what they need to know so that they have an opportunity to go to college or start a career in a circumstance that allows them to have get onto a career ladder that has opportunities for advancement and earning a family wage job.
You know, if you really focus on the right things and stay focused on them, you can really make a huge difference. In business, what we're seeing, and it really is regardless of the type of business, it's a constant changing of how you do things, constantly looking at new ways. There's a competitive environment there, and we need people who can think, who bring bright ideas, who are going to learn and grow with you.
As a practical matter, we're relying heavily on the public education system in Washington State, and it could use some help.
Microsoft invests in Partnership for Learning because we need access to expertise, and that's what Partnership for Learning brings.
I think we need their voice. Certainly, the business community are going to be hiring our graduates, hopefully not just from the K-12 system, but also from some form of post-secondary. And I think having your voice about the kind of workers that you need and the skills and knowledge that they need is extremely important.
So the vision for PFL and the Roundtable looking forward includes innovation in our delivery systems. It includes a post-secondary system that is rigorous and responsive. It includes an accountable system that is linked to real-world assessments.
The skills gap study that was completed last year by the Roundtable and Partnership for Learning, working with Boston Consulting Group, found that there are currently 25,000 jobs here in Washington State that are unfilled because employers could not find folks with the right background and skills. And that skills gap is projected to grow to 50,000 over 5 years. In our view, we need to take a variety of steps to make sure that children here in Washington State have an opportunity to fill these great jobs as opposed to just, for example, importing that talent from other states.
In 10 or 15 or 20 years, PFL and all of us collectively who've been working on these education issues for all these years will start to see equity in the system of education.
Looking into the crystal ball for the future, I believe that our kids can meet the higher standards. We need to support our educators to put those expectations in place and support them in our understanding that they have the capacity and the ability to do it.
And as I look back now, 2 decades later, on where we're at in our academic and our education system in Washington State versus where I thought we would be, we're way ahead.
I think what's exciting about it for PFL is it shows the contributions that we have made. It demonstrates that we have staying power. And it also allows us to say we have this firm foundation and we're moving forward.